success of this operation will lead us to victory.
Descendant, a quick word before the briefing. You seem to be a little too preoccupied with your AI friend at the moment. As your commander, I'm concerned that you're prioritizing the guide over the operation report. The guide is only a strategic tool. I tolerate her under the condition she does not cross a line, but I don't consider her to be one of us. She is essentially data, and data can be manipulated by external factors, or even by itself. We should never see it as being at the same level as those of us who have fought together against the enemy, and built our trust in each other in the process. Keep that in mind, and you'll be the best teammate anyone could ask for. That being said, this operation was expertly handled. I trust you to keep up the good fight, Descendant. As you may be aware, the guide has detected Ironheart particles at Sharon's location.
The location is inside the Vulgus munitions factory. Sharon and the Colon Special Forces have been conducting stealth reconnaissance, but time is running out.
Once you've completed preparations, join Sharon and look for traces of the Ironheart. We've kept our end of the bargain. Now it's the guide's turn to prove her worth.
HQ, we appreciate the support. The operation will commence once reinforcements arrive.
Deactivating active camouflage. Sorry, I wasn't able to help you at the excavation site. To be honest, I'm not sure if my functions, my skills, are at full capacity. It takes a huge amount of RK to maintain the Kuiper retroreflective active camouflage. It feels like my prosthesis and I are both slowly reaching our limits. But if the Ironheart is within our reach, I have to give it my all, even if it breaks me. The guide said that Ironheart particles are the fundamental clues we need to track it. They're kind of like footprints that the Ironheart leaves behind, wherever it goes. I compared the location of these footprints to the recon intel. We should find more conclusive data as we continue to follow the traces. I'll send the details of the zone you'll need to cover to your receive. The remaining zones will be covered by Colon operatives.
The Vulgus munitions factory. It truly is an ominous and horrifying place.
Can you feel that?
I can experience a variety of sensations through the Archae of Descendants, including the phantom pain you feel.
That's for me to deal with, Guide. Don't poke your nose in where it's not wanted. Once I've dealt with my personal target, then I'll ask you to remove the pain.
You refer to the Vulgus you were pursuing.
Descendant, this is a Vulgus logistics facility where raw materials and products needed for the munitions factory are distributed. As this is where the Ironheart particles were detected, we may find a lead in their distribution records. If you can connect your receive to a terminal, I'll try hacking into the distribution records. Tactical target achieved. Zone with substantial logistical activity discovered. A large volume of construction materials have been relocated from here to a suspect zone. At the same time, secret supplies have been transported from there back to here. This is definitely suspicious. I'll send this info to Sharon.
Stop right there.
Descendant, this is a Vulgus logistics facility where raw materials and products needed for the munitions factory are distributed. As this is where the Ironheart particles were detected, we may find a lead in their distribution records. If you can connect your receive to a terminal, I'll try hacking into the distribution records. logistical activity discovered. A large volume of construction materials have been relocated from here to a suspect zone. At the same time, secret supplies have been transported from there back to here. This is definitely suspicious. I'll send this info to Sharon.
HQ. While investigating traces of the Ironheart, we've discovered a zone in the factory area that looks to have been recently expanded. Considering the circumstances, I think it's highly likely that there's an Ironheart inside. Requesting approval for further investigation.
Approval granted, but proceed with extreme caution. A large assault ship has been spotted in the airspace above the area. Based on the ship's class, we think it's the same one that we saw Carell board. Either he's there in person, or something worthy of his attention is happening. We should be prepared for a challenging situation. We may need to deploy more Descendants. Over and out.
Sharon, do we have any tactical weapons that are capable of destroying the entire Vulgus industrial area? If the Ironheart is here, we may be able to investigate after destroying the enemy's facilities.
It's an interesting idea, Guide. But if it were possible, we would have already done it. Unfortunately, we don't have the capabilities to create such a powerful weapon. The anti-air gun in the Albion mountain ranges probably are enemies here. That's why the Descendants and the Ironheart are humanity's last hope. Closing the dimensional wall to isolate ingress from the Colossi and the Vulgus. That would be the ultimate tactical weapon. Anyway, we don't have time to chat. Let's head to the restricted zone.
Descendant, this is a Vulgus logistics facility where raw materials and products in the munitions factory are distributed. As this is where the Ironheart particles were detected, we may find a lead in their distribution records. If you can connect your receive to a terminal, I'll try hacking into the distribution records.
This could get messy.
Tactical target achieved. Zone with substantial logistical activity discovered. A large volume of construction materials have been relocated from here to a suspect zone. At the same time, secret supplies have been transported from there back to here. This is definitely suspicious. I'll send this info to Sharon.
Descendant. I can detect both Ironheart particles and its pulse in this zone. It keeps moving. If you and Sharon can widen the range of Arche, I can obtain more accurate information. Please help me. Also, my system has been more inconvenienced than I expected. I believe that once it was restored, I would be able to locate the Ironhearts wherever they may be in Ingress. However, it may be that my system has yet to be completely restored. As I was created for the Ironheart, I assumed my performance would not be this lackluster. In order to achieve my goal, our goal, my performance will need to improve.
Let's think about that later, if we make it out alive. If the Vulgus have a large assault ship, they'll soon be pouring into this place. Number 17 and I will operate in stealth mode. You stay sharp.
Descendant, I have found a suitable location for detecting Ironheart forces. This is a large nuclear reactor, which is connected to this entire zone. By comparing the reactor's pulses with the Vulgus biosignals, I can detect pulses from a wide area. I could detect Ironheart pulses. I'll attempt to trace that location.
Hey! There! Sacrifice for Master Corral!
believed to be a Vulgus bioengineering facility. Remember the wastewater treatment plant where we found Ironheart particles? The wastewater plant from there connects to this facility. We can figure out what these bastards have been up to. Let's take a look around. Look for Vulgus terminals to access it.
Be careful, Descendant. I've identified multiple Vulgus signals inside the facility. Expect random hostilities.
This could get messy. I need help now.
We're too late. All experimental data has been deleted.
Not all of it. There's a cache of records about the most recent experiments. It's not ideal, but I'll try to restore it as best I can.
In the meantime, you and I might as well follow the Ironheart particles. There are Ironheart particles and faint traces of energy everywhere. Judging by these traces, the energy extracted from the Ironheart is injected into the weapons submerged in the chemical station. The Vulgus genes and caliber must have fused as a result. The pain would have been terrible. Not even Vulgus could have endured it.
That's why there were Ironheart particles in the wastewater. But Guide, one of the experiment chambers is empty. Did one of them survive?
The chances of something having survived are close to 0%, but I cannot be sure. Descendant, I have pinpointed the location where all of the Ironheart traces converge. It is hidden within the facility of the Legion of Immortality. I can detect a continuous Ironheart pulse and particles as well as a small amount of energy from this place. And they seem to be... I recommend we investigate this place, Descendant. I'll need you to...
Sharon, I will stay behind and retrieve the cache of Vulgus experiment records. I'm sure they'll contain valuable information.
I'll enter the inner facility first. Join me when you're ready. Most of the main passageways are now either blocked or destroyed. It appears the enemy intends to destroy the entire facility. Air vents, drainage pipes, maintenance ducts. Use any available alternative means of escape that you can.
Sharon, I've restored some of the data from the Vulgus experiment records. According to these records, the facility you're in is the private laboratory of General Amon of the Legion of Immortality. As it was Ironheart traces which led us to this place, Corell and Amon might actually be there.
It won't be an easy fight if they are.
Sharon,
Awaiting your transmission.
the traces of the Ironheart detected here. They're... never mind. I will let you know after I've performed further analysis.
Okay, Guide. They've synchronized the alarms with the nuclear reactor's self-destruct switch. What the hell are they thinking? They'd rather take everyone and everything with them than give up the Ironheart. I can modify the circuitry, find the alarms and destroy them. We need to stabilize the deactivated reactor. Turn on the coolers. I'll continue tracking the Ironheart traces.
All units transmitting critical operation details. From the restored Vulgus experiment records, I've reconstructed an audio recording that listen.
Will become greater from the Iron Rise, my warriors! Your lives
Then these Ironheart forces
seems like it's thorough enough. Yes, Lord Carell's vanguard. Born again. Thanks to the Ironheart. Lord Carell said he would come. I am to bring him your hits. I'll be waiting, Descendant.
Damn it! So the Ironheart's already gone then?
So this is why the traces felt displaced. Descendant, in order to increase the accuracy of our pursuit, we need to access all the data on Vulgus units who were transformed using the Ironheart. You must defeat Alzarok. Sharon, will you relay a detailed report of this to HQ?
Will do. I'll be on my way. Good hunting.
It is over, Descendant. But there is so much information that is hard to accept. This Alzarok is one thing. But Carell has ordered for the Ironheart to be inverted. Whatever that means. Inversion. What could that be?
alerting the Ironheart data. If you do that, we won't be able to decipher the unidentified guide code.
Enough! The Ironheart data must be inverted in order to destroy the dimensional wall. I don't have time to think about that! You understand my vision now, don't you?
Oh, of course. I am only thinking of our research.
I'm glad to hear that our objectives are aligned. Initiate the data inversion. The path will engulf increase. The roars of the Vulgus will fill this land with fear.
Descendant, I have the results of the operation from Sharon. Alpha is tied up with an emergency meeting with the Magisters. I have been ordered to brief you on the follow-up operation. Please make your way to HQ. Do you need information? What about? Excellent work, Descendant. This operation has yielded many results, both positive and negative. Firstly, all of HQ is encouraged by the possibilities presented by the guide. Although we were unsuccessful in our retrieval of the Ironheart, thanks to the guide's tracking function, we uncovered the Vulgus restricted zone and Alzarok. This proves the guide's tracking system exists and is operational. However, the ingenuity that the Vulgus demonstrated with their use of the Ironheart was alarming. So much so that the Magisters requested an emergency meeting with Alpha. In particular, the inversion of the Ironheart ordered by Corral is something we must understand, no matter the cost. From this point forward, HQ plans to adopt the Guide's tracking functionality and the various other information sources they offer as official operational elements. The Descendants will soon be deployed throughout Ingress. Use the Guide to track the Ironheart and proceed with the mission to investigate the inversion procedure. Humanity's full-scale counterattack has officially begun. However, I know you have just completed a difficult mission. Until the official deployment order is given, please go ahead with whatever preparations you need to make. The Magisters have promised their full commitment to support research efforts, so this is the perfect opportunity to request anything you need from an ace. Before you go, Descendant, I have a personal request. Can you retrieve the Alzarok autopsy report from Jeremy? The report was intended for delivery to the Magisters. Jeremy requested a... I understand things are strained between you and Jeremy due to the recent operation, but I hope you'll do this anyway. Descendant, just in case, I hope you're not disappointed that Jeremy wasn't punished. I actually saw Alpha slap Jeremy earlier. No one enjoys seeing their superior do something like that, but I believe it was a more appropriate punishment than a court-martial. I'm sure that Jeremy has also learned his lesson.
What the? You're still alive? I was just reading the report on Alzarok and thinking, wouldn't it be great if he, killed you? Anyway, looks like he got to experience something interesting at least. A Vulgus redesigned by the Ironheart. Wow. Now, that's an area that fascinates me. If I knew you'd be seeing that, I would have stuck with the operation instead of dropping out. And I wouldn't have been slapped by Alpha. Anyway, why are you here? I'm in a bad enough mood already after Sharon and her minion drop by to give me a piece of their minds? What? Nell wants the report? Ah, so you're her gopher. You probably don't have time to argue with me anyway. Sharon mentioned earlier all these so-called grown-ups having fun with her.
Descendant, something has altered the properties of the Ironheart I was connected to. As soon as we returned to Albion, I leapt between the arcade of different descendants in order to find Ironheart traces. I discovered traces in the desert and forest areas, and at that moment, I felt great pain. In human terms, it felt like my skin was peeling off and my flesh was melting. Descendant, I suspect this phenomenon is caused by an inversion process. If Corell and Eamon had enough time after moving the Ironheart, they may have managed to perform it. However, aside from this pain, I was unable to obtain any further information. For the properties of the Ironheart to change, a tremendous amount of energy would have to be released.
Void dimension link detected. Colossus approaching. I repeat, void dimension link detected. Colossus approaching.
Descendant, a Colossus has appeared. This Colossus, is it merely coincidence? Can this truly be unrelated to the Ironheart inversion? The ancestors always removed the environmental value of chance from all variables. They believed all things had a cause and an effect. My thoughts are all muddled. It would be best to focus on the Colossus for now, Descendant. As for the inversion, I will investigate.
Classification type, stunning. All descendants in Albion, prepared for intercept battle.
They're arriving on the daily! And not just any Colossus, but stunning beauty? Somebody buy Alpha a new pen? He's gonna have to write so many letters of condolences today.
Alpha let him off with just a slap in the face. He should have gone after his neck.
I don't disagree.
information about the Colossi. Descendant, the Colossi are discerning ingress through an incomprehensible pattern. Although the expected time of arrival for the Colossus is unknown, the fact that a stunning beauty is drawn here alarms me. Stunning beauty is a Colossus which is insensitive to energy. Even during the apocalypse, only a few of them are recorded to have appeared in Ingress. But now, suddenly, one is making its way to Ingress. This is not a situation to be taken lightly. Descendant, I'll send you to the Void Dimension once you have finished battle preparations. I hope the intercept is successful. Have you completed preparations? I am analyzing the void. Descendant, you have been successful. We live in uncertain times, but thankfully the skills of the Descendants remain stable and unchanged. Even if using the word stable in our current situation is embarrassingly ironic. The dimensional wall is currently in the worst state it has ever been. Before now, it was almost unheard of for an energy-insensitive colossus like Stunning Beauty to be able to find its way here. We must find the Ironheart and connect it to the Prime Hands as soon as possible. Closing the dimensional wall is the only way we can achieve true victory over the Colossi.
I suppose everyone thinks the dimensional wall is the only answer.
Are you saying it isn't?
I cannot say whether it is or not. As we do not have an Ironheart, nothing can be proven.
You think too much. We should find a heart and prove it then. I'm pretty sure there's one in Vespers. Traces from another Ironheart have been discovered in a forest in Vespers. I've already spoken with HQ. Let's discuss operation strategies. Come with me. What's going on? Sorry, I know you probably wanted some rest after taking out that Colossus. Anyway, like I said over comms, we've discovered Ironheart traces in Vespers. I had business to attend to with the Order of Truth, so I was hunting down some Vulgus there. Suddenly, the guide appeared, claiming she felt the pulse of an Ironheart in the area, and then simultaneously in multiple areas. According to the guide, these multiple signals weren't byproducts of the Ironheart like Alzarok was. Comparing it with the data we have now, there really seems to be a difference. Now, well, it's obvious, isn't it? We have no other choice but to check every single location she's detected. When I came back to HQ to report on my operation, they told me to take reinforcements. And I chose you. Jeremy makes me very uncomfortable. But I have no trouble trusting you. So, you in? I'll take your silence as consent. I knew you'd accept, even if you didn't actually say it. We'll head to the Vespers outpost once you're ready. It'll give Dr. Glay time to join us. You're here. I thought you'd be late. We've got a few things to do. We need to hurry.
We've received operation details. The Ironheart pulse has supposedly been detected in this area, but it's impossible to triangulate since it's dispersed in several directions.
That's correct, Clay. I can feel it clearly, but it's hard for me to pinpoint its exact position. However, I can confirm it is in this zone.
We were deployed here to find one thing, and now we also have to find the Ironheart. We'll have to look under every rock in Vespers.
Freyna and I were sent here to look for a group of Vulgus, who have stolen RK serum from Jaber and some other descendants. Freyna, Sharon, even I've already had my RK serum stolen by them once. Things will only get worse if we let them take any more of it.
Those bastards. They satisfy their own desires by taking everything we humans have. They have to be stopped.
If the Ironheart is underground, then it makes sense that we're detecting the pulse in multiple locations. Not only is 55% of the surface of Vespers composed of slickinside, but this zone has a high distribution of strange-looking rocks. It's also one of the few zones where there are Ancestors' ruins on the surface, and most of the Ancestors' ruins are built out of slickinside. That's why it's difficult to pinpoint the exact point of origin of the pulses. The characteristics of slickinside make it easier for pulses to pass through it, which means there's a higher probability of pulses being detected simultaneously from multiple directions.
When I analyze the strata, there are spaces that feel empty to me. They are most likely where the Ancestors' ruins can be found. All entrances to these spaces emit pulses of similar intensity. However, you will need to confirm in person whether these places are the correct paths to lead us to the Ironheart.
In that case, we'll need to check all the places detected by the guide. There's no way the Vulgus didn't prepare for this.
All right, let's spread out and find the entrance that leads underground. That'll split the enemy's attention, so it's a good tactical approach as well.
Freyna, I understand there are specialized drones that Albion has created to find the Ironheart.
That's correct. Enzo's sending the drones here shortly.
That is excellent news. Let's begin our search for the Ironheart in earnest.
Hey there, Descendant. I'm Catherine Hill, a biotechnology researcher. You can call me Kate. Don't worry, I don't need anything special. I'm looking for samples from Order of Truth units. The good thing about the Order is that they have a high composition of organic matter, so it makes it easy to track biomass. We might even be able to get data that could help us with tracking the Ironheart. If you could, I need you to help me collect biosamples from the Order of Truth. Although it pains me to say this as a bioengineer, we need to ignore ethics around how you collect samples from the Vulcans. Basically, eliminate them first, then collect the samples. Simple, right? Descendant, an interrupter is trying to take... No! Hey there, Descendant. I'm Catherine Hill, a biotechnology researcher. You can call me Kate. Don't worry, I don't need anything special. I'm looking for samples from Order of Truth units. The good thing about the Order is that they have a high composition of organic matter, so it makes it easy to track biology. We might even be able to get data that could help us with tracking the Ironheart. If you could, I need you to help me collect biosamples from the Order of Truth. Although it pains me to say this as a bioengineer, we need to ignore ethics around how you collect samples from the Vulgus. Basically, eliminate them first, then collect samples. Simple, right?
I'm loading.
Descendant, an interrupter is trying to take... No! It's trying to steal the samples you collected. Destroy the interrupter!
Data acquisition at 100%. Connection to the drone has been severed. Reanalyzing the collected data.
This is Glay. I've found something. Meet me at the ruins outpost. What seems to be the problem? This place has been mentioned in records throughout history. And as the name suggests, these are the ruins. Turns out this is where the greatest recorded number of ancestors gathered. Investigation by the excavation team and analysis by the Magisters uncovered records mentioning the breakout of civil war. The ruins are evidence, remnants of this war. We don't yet know why the Civil War happened. Albion collapsed as a result of the war, and this is the only surviving record.
Given the Ironheart is here, that may have been a factor behind the outbreak of any civil war. Past or present, the Ironheart definitely has the capability to turn the fate of Ingress upside down. That hasn't changed. There were bound to be conflicts.
This is the first I've heard of this civil war. Frena's theory is quite interesting. The Ironheart in Ingress. It could be powerful and dangerous enough to turn the fate of everything in existence upside down.
Glay, I know you're a medical doctor. Do you have doctorates in history and geology as well?
I just wanted to be able to explain anything my daughter was curious about. To be the person who could answer any questions she asked.
Sounds like you'll have a lot to talk about once she returns. You must have experienced and learned countless things during the time she's been away.
I have so much to tell her, we'll probably stay up all night. Anyway, we should hurry. Guide, can you do an in-depth analysis of the ruins, please? There must be an entrance somewhere.
Enzo here. I've been able to expand my range to the vicinity of the ruins thanks to the data acquired by the drones and the guide. Transmitting surface analysis information and intel on potential entrances to Aceves.
That's not far from my current position. I'll go.
Glay, I'll go. That's where the bastards from the Order of Truth have settled. I'm the only one who can withstand the toxins they use.
I'll leave it to you then.
HQ will continue to monitor the situation. Should anything happen to Freyna, please report immediately. Guide, it's just as you said. The Vulgus have realized there is an Ironheart here. The Vulgus battleship has been spotted heading to our current location.
A battleship? Then there can be no doubt that there is an entrance here.
On your right flank. Reinforcement spotted. There's too many blind spots. Get to the top of structures and engage them from there.
I'm loading.
Another wave of enemy forces is inbound. Watch out.
Descendant, they aim to prevent you from reaching the entrance. Exercise caution when engaging in the combat.
Forces have been eliminated. Excellent job.
loading. I'll ice you. Loading. Scatter them.
Descendant, your timing is perfect. I need you to defend the equipment that has been installed. I've identified a biosignal at the back of the facility that seems to be expanding in real time. It could be a pathogen spread by the Order. Neutralizing pathogens becomes a lot easier if we know what we're dealing with. Protect the equipment until we can analyze it.
Kate, please share the analyzed data with me, too.
Of course. See, I can properly assist you now, Glay.
everyone.
Definitely know all the tunnels are connected underground, don't they? At this rate, Descendant, it'll be difficult for the equipment to pick up any useful data.
To HQ and Freyna. The enemy has made the entrance discovered at the ruins currently inaccessible. Freyna, what's the situation on your side?
It's not inaccessible, but I'm worried about how the Order's toxins might affect you.
Beneath Freyna's roof, I can detect large quick pulses occurring at the place marked as the entrance.
That means there's a high chance this entrance is connected to the Ancestors' ruins. Let's regroup and go together. Wondering who it was. You're here. It's a good thing I took this side. Neither you nor Glay would have lasted. Let's go find this entrance. Ugh, I thought I crushed the Order. They've just regrouped. They're so horrible and dirty and disgusting. And there seems to be no end to them.
Freyna, calm down. Your heart rate is increasing. It could trigger a traumatic episode.
We don't have any sedatives. So if you start having seizures, we'll have to send you back to Albion.
All right, I get it. I'll calm down. Go get your panties in a bunch. It's not enough for me to black out. Hey, Kate? Can you hear me?
Huh? Freyna? Yes, I hear you. What's happening? Anything I can help you with?
I overheard your comms with Glay. You're doing something with the fungus, right? If we collect enough fungi, will you be able to make an antidote or antibody that gives us immunity?
Of course. Although it may take some time, it's not impossible.
Great idea. Kate, if you have any questions during production, get in touch right away. And remember to be methodical. You make mistakes when you're rushing.
Clay, that was over 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was back then.
Our objective is to secure as much fungi as possible. Let's hurry. If we have an antidote or antibodies that give us immunity, the mission will become much easier.